for the EA Sports video game, for crying out loud. You know what I mean? Like, the insurance is on the commercial, so guess what? That's probably saying something, right? You know? So that's awesome for our kids.
This is the ODU Coaches Show on News 3.
The Monarchs coming off a victory for the first time this season, and with that, we welcome you inside the Old Dominion Football Coaches Show. Ricky, Ronnie, Mark Davis. Coach, hit the road again tomorrow, going to Virginia Tech, a place you guys are familiar with. Obviously, at least the coaches might be, because you guys have been there.
Yep.
Any advantage to that, going to a place where you might be a little bit more familiar?
I mean, obviously, Virginia Tech's one of the hardest places to play in the country. So
no advantage.
I don't know if there's any advantage.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I don't know if there's any advantage. But it's a great opportunity, and obviously it's something that I know our players are looking forward to, because it is such a great atmosphere. So, they're looking forward to it. They know what it's going to be about, and you live for these moments, right?
Absolutely.
Especially a night game there and those sort of things. This is what you play college football for, is to be able to experience, as many of these as humanly possible. And so, yeah, looking forward to that part.
Let's look at your opponent this week, opening up with two SEC schools, obviously South Carolina and Vanderbilt. They may be 0-2, but they're battle-tested coming in.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, they played the neutral site game, and then they go and they get one at home. But those are two tough opponents to open up with. And then, obviously, I'm sure they would rather have a different opponent on week 3 as well. So, they certainly do have a battle-tested team. They have a lot of new players, and so they have a lot of transfers and things like that. They're very talented, but they do have a lot of new players, and so you got to assume that they're growing and gelling together and getting better each and every week. So, it'll be a great opportunity for our guys to go in there and play a team that is going to be hungry.
Kyron Drones, too. We talk about one of the guys who's not a transfer. He is returning. Also, their leading rusher. So a dual threat back there in the backfield when he takes the snap. That just adds another layer of challenge for you guys when you're going up against a QB like that. And we always talk about this with Sunbelt QBs too. Yeah. So it's really nothing you're not used to seeing.
No, but he is a very, very special athlete. I mean, he can really, really run. He's got a very strong arm, and he's big. And he'll play physical. So he's a special athlete, a special player. We've played him before, and so we know what he's all about. And we know that if we don't tackle and wrap up, that it's going to be a long day for us in the pocket and outside of it, because he'll shrug somebody off and throw a ball 65 yards.
Right.
So, I mean, there's some impressive stuff, and he's got good wide receivers who make plays, particularly on the deep ball. He's got some guys who do that. And then, you talked about him being dual threat and their leading rusher. Well, we think they're probably going to get a couple running backs back,
right.
A couple guys back that they've got some transfers in and who have been good players that we played before. One transfer from Bowling Green, a transfer from Coastal Carolina.
Familiar faces.
Yeah, familiar faces for sure. And so we anticipate those guys playing, and we know what type of players those guys can be.
Early on in the first 2 games, both you and Virginia Tech have taken advantage of your red zone opportunities. Is this a game that could come down to red zone defense?
Well, our defense has played really well in the red zone so far this year.
100%, yeah.
I mean, they've done a great job, and really bowed up there numerous times. So very confident with Coach Seiler and the scheme he puts together down there, but confident with our players to be able to execute that scheme and know that every inch matters, and being in the right spot and having your eyes in the right spot and everything is really critical. And then, I also feel very comfortable with what we do in the red zone on offense, and I think we coach that up very, very well. We present some people with some interesting challenges down there, and so, we've got to continue to own the red zone. That's something that not only is going to be important in this game, but going forward.
Well, I know coaches are always searching for that 60-minute game. They're looking for that consistency on both sides of the ball. How did you see that change/improve from game 1 to game 2 with you guys?
Well, I think we overcame adversity a little bit better in game 2. There were some things where maybe we weren't executing and doing some things, but we ended up just keep fighting. Where I was really proud of the guys is third quarter.
Yeah.
We played incredible in the third quarter, really across the board, and so that was something. We've got to be more consistent in special teams. Obviously, we get our hands on 2 punts, which is awesome. We really played some suffocating coverage at times, but then other times we just weren't in the right spots. We weren't getting things spilled and doing some of those sort of things. So we got to be more consistent in the kicking game. I think that's one area where we have to improve.
Obviously, one elephant in the room for the program this week has been Jason announcing that he's walking away from football. Obviously, a tough pill to swallow, I think, for everybody, because we love watching him play, and he's such a dedicated kid. Tough news for you guys this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of these things we talk about a lot, that football ends for everybody sometime, right? And you usually don't get to pick. Either you don't have a team anymore in the NFL or whatever, or your body kind of starts to betray you a little bit, and so I mean, because the bottom line is, I wish I could go out and play tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, but that's not an option for me. Our team's still going to support Jason all we can, and obviously incredibly thankful, and I know the university and the fans are, for all that he's contributed to our team, and and our guys and our coaches and players are going to support him with whatever we possibly can.
Yeah.
And so I mean, it's a tough deal to swallow, but we all know that teammates and coaches, and we got to be around him and help him as he gets through this.
Loaded question here, but I mean, what's he meant to the program? I mean, you look at the long list of accolades and what he's done in growing himself into one of the best players in the country. I mean, what's he meant to you guys?
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna, he retires as the all-time tackle leader here, which is pretty impressive. And I mean, he's been a lot. I mean, he's established how we want to play defense around here, and how we want to run to the ball and give maximum effort and do those sort of things. So, he's embodied a lot of how we want to play, especially on that side of the ball. And then I just think he's also been somebody the fans could rally around, and that's an important deal, right? I mean,
yes.
That's something that he'll always be able to have, and I think that people will always, especially in the 757, I think they're always going to remember, those special games and those special plays that he's had.
When we come back, we're hitting the film room with Coach. We're going to break down some plays from that North Carolina Central game. That's coming up right after this.
Snap is good. Oh, but bobbled by the punter, and he's going to get hammered to the end zone. And that is either a safety or a touchdown. Let's see what it is. The signal is a safety. You hand the ball off, straight up the guts. Oh, look at this. Touchdown, Old Dominion. His first as a Monarch, Traquan Jones.
Ted Alexander, his work cut out with him with all those points last week there on the 94.1 Old Dominion Sports Radio Network. Back here now with Coach Ronnie. And Coach, great showing by you guys, obviously. The kind of score that we love to see as Old Dominion fans. We're going to break down a couple plays here from this game, and we're going to start with one where I think you said on this play you could have run for a touchdown here.
Yeah, this is obviously a really well-blocked play, and I would have got caught right there by number 12, so that's probably not accurate. But
so you would have made it to the second level.
Yeah, I mean, there's some really good blocks here. I think, one of them was, Jalen Butler coming across and getting a nice seal block on the defensive end. And then I thought, really good was on the back side of that, Steph DeBose. You can kind of see it right here. You'll see him turn him out right there. So he got the leverage and able. And this was, for a running back sometimes, I know this seems weird, but it's hard to hit those things downhill like that and not make a cut, not make an unnecessary cut.
Sure.
I thought Traquan did a great job of not doing that, just hitting and going fast. That was actually he actually was faster on that play than he was on the 93-yarder on that play, because we have that GPS. So that was pretty impressive.
So is this one of the, I mean, what a game. 5 carries, 163 yards, and 3 touchdowns. I mean, that's one heck of a stat line.
Yeah, I would wonder, he's, Sun Belt Player of the Week. I would wonder if that's the fewest touches to ever be a Player of the Week in the history of the Sun Belt. So that was a pretty good deal there.
So let's shift to the other side of the ball now. We saw this another first quarter play, the end of the first quarter here. Take a look. You see the quarterback, you could say, gets flushed out of the pocket or escapes, however you want to phrase that. Then Jaleel comes over and makes a nice play there.
Yeah, it's a really nice play to make sure that he didn't get it, because that could have turned into something bad when he got outside of there.
Yeah.
I thought we put some good pressure on the quarterback all day. We only had 2 sacks, but we applied pressure. I mean, I think there was probably 3 or 4 throwaways from him, and he had to go to his check down a bunch. So we applied good pressure. We affected the quarterback on even some of those other throws, like the interception and things like that. We were affecting the quarterback on a bunch of different plays.
Well, in a play like that, you obviously want to disrupt the pocket and make him uncomfortable. But when he gets outside with all that space, is it one of those, hey, you got to pick your poison, or do you want to see something different there?
No, I mean, listen, you got to be aggressive, and we talk about caging the quarterback, and everybody has a responsibility of making sure that they have certain points on the quarterback, but you also have to stay aggressive and go get them. What you don't want to do is you don't want to run past him. Right, because that's where the issues really start to happen. You got to counter back and do some things like that.
Essentially, you're out of the play at that point.
No question, right? And so that's where I thought Jaleel did a nice job there, is he countered back and was able to make the play.
Absolutely. So some nice defense there. No touchdowns for North Carolina Central. Plenty of touchdowns for you guys, though. Let's take a look at Colton's first TD pass of 2025 here. Naeem puts it right on him, says go get it, and he does.
Yeah, it's a really nice throw. I mean, where only Naeem could go get it. Nice play call there by Deck. By the way, the helmets are pretty sweet, right?
Those really sweet helmets. We were talking about that pregame.
Yeah, the helmets are sweet. So, it was a really, really, really nice ball. He put this in a nice spot. And he threw it with such conviction, knowing exactly where his guy was going to be. There's no hesitation.
Well, you can see that especially in this shot coming up here, because it's straight on. He just takes the snap and throws.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome, and he put it right in the right spot, and great route, great execution. That's the way to get this thing going.
So obviously Colton, dual threat guy. What's he mean to have a guy like back there that can do all these things? Because we saw the 2 long runs the week before, and now we saw him use his arms and his legs this game.
I mean, he's very talented. I thought he played. I know I said this in a post-game press conference, but I thought he played excellent in this game. I really did. I mean, he played with such confidence. He played with such conviction on his throws. Everything that he knew when to take the checkdowns. He's just taking what they were giving him, but we still were able to push the ball down the field when we needed to. We threw a touchdown on the 4th and 8-1 and all that sort of stuff. I think that might have been. I know a lot of people are going to point to the Georgia Southern game.
Sure.
I actually think this was his best game. Just the way he played all the way around. I thought he played awesome in that game, and I really see this as something that's going to be a springboard for him to play even better coming forward.
Has the ball, looking to throw near side, pass caught, touchdown Old Dominion. Colton Joseph finds the end zone. Naheem Abdul Rahim Gladding, touchdown Old Dominion.
Well, we heard Coach Ronnie say it. These chances to go down into these atmospheres in these stadiums, an opportunity. And the players, they're approaching it as such and ready to go in there and try to quiet down Lane Stadium. I liked what you said here about that being your first start at guard in college. What was that like for you? I mean, you remember that, I guess it's kind of automatically connected to that memory when you go to Lane Stadium.
It was electric. Pretty nerve-wracking, but also, keep playing, get that first pop in, I was good. Just learning how to focus and honing into your preparation and, just going out there giving all.
Coach has talked about it takes a week to beat a team, so our preparation started yesterday. Yeah. So if we prepare the right way, the crowd isn't going to be a factor in how we play.
The Monarchs ready to go into an ACC hostile environment, one of the best in the country. And, Coach, we're talking a little bit about environments today. Virginia Tech is known for
No, Sandman?
Enter Sandman, that's exactly right. Yeah. So, obviously, you're so focused at the beginning of a game.
Yeah.
But do you ever catch yourself standing there waiting to go out and kind of looking around at some of these atmospheres or these openers, so to speak, where the guys are running out? Or not really?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I don't do it as I should do it better. I realize.
Well, it means you're focused on what you're doing.
No, but I should. I'm being dead serious. I really should do a better job of that. But I don't. I regret that. Okay. I regret not doing that as much. I mean, I have very few memories of those things, and I've been lucky enough to coach in some pretty awesome places.
Yeah.
Do some and be in some awesome environments, and. I don't remember as many of those as I wish I could, and that's. I remember the stadiums, right, and I remember all that sort of stuff, but I don't necessarily. But I remember like things I shouldn't remember, like where the play clocks are, what are the sight lines, what's the wind like, all that sort of stuff. So I need to do a better job of that. You still feel it.
Yeah.
All right, and I would like to say I thought our student section was awesome again last week.
Yes, yes.
And they did an unbelievable job. And I need them to continue to do that because that was awesome. But you can feel it. You can feel the energy. I just don't know if I've ever looked around the way that maybe I should.
Going on the road this week, any game day atmosphere like during the game rather, like that you recall jumping out at you during your coaching career? Not necessarily just Little Dominion, but any time during your career.
The Iowa Wave thing is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And pretty powerful actually.
Yeah.
That
With
one.
the Children's Hospital right there?
Yeah. So that one's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That one's pretty awesome. So I have always liked that. And that one, it's really the plays, right? Like I'll never forget when, when we blocked Ohio State's field goal and ran it back, just how loud that was.
Yep.
And Penn State's a very old coach's booth.
Yes.
And one of our coaches hit his head and was like, because he jumped up and he hit his head and was like gushing blood out of his head. Yeah, it was a bad deal, but we didn't really care at the time. Right. I mean, like post game, we were like, hey man, you all right?
You okay?
Yeah.
It took a minute.
Yeah, it took a good long minute. I will tell you that much. Yeah, it took a long time. Yeah, I always say this. One of my favorite memories ever is 2016, and when we went down after we beat Michigan State to win the East title, went down and I picked up Mike Gesicki, who he's 250 pounds. And I picked him up and was like, whatever. My kids are down there, whatever. And it was really special. Yes, we won the division, but also the really cool thing was Michigan State was like, they beat the heck out of us the year before. Yeah. Their offensive lineman ran a ball in. Yeah. Like it was a bad deal. So for us to get that win was awesome, and that one felt pretty good.
Yeah, well, hey, you coach so many games. It's kind of cool to go back and revisit some of those that you probably don't get too much time to think about.
I would tell you the other one was the Georgia State win we had here.
Oh, that was yep.
All right, and my wife after the game, just being so excited to see her and that happening. That was an awesome one. When we got bowl eligible for the first time in 2021, that Charlotte game, which was so back and forth, and all of a sudden we ended up blowing them out. That was a huge. That was cool too.
Well, and the circumstance behind that one was you guys had started out 1-6.
Yeah.
So that was the fifth of a 5-game winning streak to make you bowl eligible. So that probably added to the emotion a little bit.
Yeah. No, it certainly did. Yeah. It did. So there's so many things. If I just sat here, I could probably think of some from every single game.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. You work so many hours into it, and so when you get that sort of release, it's pretty awesome.
Well, Coach, you're heading down to Virginia Tech tomorrow. Best luck against the Hokies. Tech and ODU kick off 7 o'clock ACC Network Saturday night.
Final score from Cornblow Field at SB Ballard Stadium. Old Dominion 54, North Carolina Central 6.
Well, as Coach Ronnie discussing earlier, the Monarchs moving forward without linebacker Jason Henderson. He's walking away from football, but still has a roster full of teammates who still view him as family. Every football player's last game is a different experience. Ricky Ronnie knowing his final 60 minutes at Cornell would end his playing career, and with time to prepare for that reality. Jason Henderson without that luxury.
Not knowing when it's over and then all of a sudden having to deal with it being over is incredibly an incredibly emotional time in most people's lives.
Henderson announcing Sunday that he's stepping away from the game he loves. After suffering a serious knee injury in ODU's 2023 regular season finale and a rigorous rehab process, the linebacker saying he's unable to get back to a competitive level.
He made the decision, and while it's emotional, I know that he thought deeply about it, and so it wasn't something that was, it was well thought out. It was certainly a rational decision.
But the senior also noting that football giving him a second family. His Gridiron brothers will miss sharing the field with him, but ready to lend a hand at a moment's notice.
It hurt because I love Jason. Jason's a brother. I've been playing with Jason for about 3-4 years now. And I know he loves the game, so we're always there for him. We're going to be there for him, so we'll be all right.
We are probably the 5 or 6 guys that stayed at Old Dominion all 5 years here, came in together. I love him to death, and I respect his decision, and we're going to stay by him, keep uplifting him, and guys are playing for him.
Henderson giving his heart and soul to the program since arriving on campus in 2021. 2-time All-American, multiple All-Sun Belt honors, the nation's leading tackler in 2022, and leaving as the program's record holder in total tackles. Ronnie notes we may not see him on the sideline right away, but he's always welcome.
I watch guys who are out for a week, and I watch them cry before a game when they're out for a week. Right, so to know that you're not going to play again, that's an emotional time for any of us.
We're all uplifting him. You know, he's still around because he's still our brother. We're going to uplift him, make sure that he's all right, and he's going to keep supporting us, and we'll do the same for him.
And that wraps up this edition of the Old Dominion Football Coaches Show. The Monarchs and Virginia Tech kick off 7 o'clock tomorrow night on ACC Network. For Ricky Ronnie, I'm Mark Davis. Have a great weekend, everybody, and go Monarchs.